Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however and whenever you're practicing. We'll need today 2 blocks, a strap, and a bolster. You can find these props in my shop by clicking the link. Before we begin, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss when these practices drop. Let's get started. I'm just taking a moment to settle into your body. Feel free to close the eyes. Notice if your palms are up or down, without judging yourself, without trying to make yourself fit any particular version of a seat. Let your jaw be at ease. And just start to simply observe from the inside how the breath is moving you. We're focusing this month on the sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, and our ability to be able to go with the flow no matter how challenging or how seemingly easy things present themselves always starts with an observation of where our breath is. And as you continue to observe if your breath is shallow or a little deeper, a little bit more focused on the inhalation or a little bit more focused on the exhalation, you'll also start to notice your seat. If your pelvis is tilted a little too much forward or a little too much back. These first few moments to set the tone for your practice within your nervous system and body is available to you at any time. We'll balance the brain hemispheres by taking the right hand under the left armpit, the left under the right, crisscrossing at the wrist. And as you start to draw the awareness of the breath moving underneath your hands, becoming very intimate, feeling the ebb and flow of the prana. See if you can discern which side is a little bit more expansive, a little bit more dominant today. And we breathe out of one nostril for 88 minutes every day before it automatically switches sides. Which brain hemisphere of yours seems to be more active at this moment? And we'll switch the breath by taking the hand that's on top, plug it underneath the same armpit, just crisscross at the bottom. And again, as you practice with the eyes closed, if that feels comfortable, you're scanning and observing multiple aspects, not just the breath moving underneath the hands, but that very subtle shift of airflow. It's almost as if you are attuning, like a piano gets tuned, the keys gets tuned. You're attuning your awareness, fine-tuning. The more observant we are on the inside, the more awareness we gain to bring the shadows of our watery Svadhisthana sacral chakra into our conscious light. And once you start to feel both sides of the lungs balance, we'll take a round of Bhastrika Pranayama today with Parjalani mudra. This helps to unlock the coil of Kundalini Shakti at the base of the spine. As you start to feel the breath balancing, float the backs of your hands to the tops of your knees, index fingers and thumbs to touch. And firstly, just observe within your innermost dwelling how that subtle shift has changed the landscape. How balancing the brain hemispheres has balanced the pelvic bowl, balanced the water from moving one way or to the other extreme. And to uncoil the energy locked at the base of our spine that keeps us embedded in our lower chakras, in the material realm, and locked in the shadows or the parts of ourselves that can be difficult during focus on the Svadhisthana. Bhastrika will allow, through bellows breath, for the upward movement of that current of energy. So 2 different ways we can take this. You can interlace your fingers and press it onto your belly, or you can take 𝗙𝗵𝘀𝗀 mudra, thumbs up, all 4 fingers to the palms of your hands. And you'll activate your breath by inhaling and exhaling, emphasizing both aspects. And we'll do that for 27 rounds. And I'll talk you through Parjalani mudra. So if you can, keep the eyes closed and attune your awareness to the ears. Breathe in a part of the way, let the belly push out, and begin to exhale and emphasize exhalation and inhalation. And you're feeling a little lift of your pelvic floor as you're exhaling as well. Start to slow the breath down. Breathe in a part of the way, retain the breath, and take your thumbs, you can peek up if you need, place them right into where the hip crease is and grab the flesh of the belly. Grab whatever you've got. Retaining the breath, you'll draw the chin down and up, down, and up, all retaining the breath. And this releases cerebral fluid, the nectar, to drip down, and for the consciousness it's locked within us to rise up. Float the chin up, release the locks, release the hands, and exhale through the nose. I'm just noticing again any differences, very subtle shifts that bring us into sattva gunas. See if you can keep your eyes closed as you draw the right ear over to the right side shoulder, left shoulder heavy, tongue, neck, jaw at ease. Tilt the chin diagonally down. Again, feeling this gentle breeze within your pranic system. Feeling the water gentle, balanced. Tilt the chin diagonally up. And it's a practice, right? It starts here so that anything that may happen in the materiality realm doesn't thwart us, or that we're practicing being calm, balanced, and soft. Left ear over to the left side shoulder. And that is precisely why the practice is called a practice, not a perfect. There are no levels. There's nowhere to get. It's just a deeper understanding by using these profound tools and techniques. Tilt the chin diagonally down. Maintain space for an apple. Left side and tilt it diagonally up. And draw the chin back to center and then stretch the arms wide around and up. And draw the palms down the midline of the body and just pause here at your heart center as you feel this balance of the right and left side. And sometimes the challenges that may come to us within the depths of our darkness can feel insurmountable. But feel and program right now this balance from the breath, this focus that you've directed from the shadows up towards the heart for transcendence and transmutation. And set an intention for your practice today. What is it that you can more gracefully handle? And that can feel overwhelming within itself. I don't want to shy away from that. You need more grace, more patience. Right? But what is it that maybe you can offer yourself? Maybe it's more compassion at this time. And take a deep breath to inhale. And exhale your intention now into your practice by opening your mouth. Let it fill the room. And then stay with that intention as you make your way onto hands and knees. And I'm not going to cue you as we take cat-cow. But if it feels good for you to close your eyes, close the eyes. Let the breath start to wash the spine, the joints, the ligaments and tendons. On Sunday, around 11:30 p.m., I had flooding in my space. My bathroom decided to just overflow. And it was a geyser eruption from the toilet overflowing all the way down to the neighbors downstairs. It turns out my super was on vacation, and thankfully, remarkably, I happened to be calm even though my apartment started to be consumed. The water was ridiculously fast. It just so happened he happened to fly in, and someone knocked on his door. And we were able to contain it. I have work to continue to be done. They were here yesterday, and then again, today will be part 2. But in those times where the water might seem as if it is flooding our lives, that it is consuming and we are drowning, these practices help us to stay balanced, to not be washed away, even though it might feel as if our footing, our soil in our planter's box is being removed from us. Come back to a neutral spine, and let's take that right arm up. We'll thread the needle a few times here. Inhale, stretching the breath, continue to wash. It's not a static movement. Use the exhalation to thread the needle. Right arm underneath left armpit. And doing that again. Inhale, stretch the arm up. Fingertips reach up. Exhale, thread the needle. Right arm through left armpit. Keep doing that a few times on your own, inhaling the arms up, exhaling, threading it through. And then backstroke the left hand to your sacrum as you roll that left shoulder on top of the right, softening the jaw. And then notice any place that you might be hardening or rigid. Our ability to, again, find that balance without being washed away like the eruption, like the flood. It happens on the inside. The steadiness is on the inside. The sthiram. Left hand underneath the left shoulder. Right arm reaches up. Circumduction here. Circle the arm around and back. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. And then stretch that left arm up. Inhale. Fingertips reach up. Exhale. Thread the arm through. Left ear to the mat. Breathing in, opening up to light. Stretching and feeling the breath fill the fingernails, the very, very tip. Exhale, thread it through. And then ask yourself, what would you have done on a Sunday night had you been? I had to, of course, multiple apartments were involved. My own is being taken care of today. What would you have done? Would you panic? It's very easy for us to write the narratives of how we think. Until something happens, we don't really get to see the practice in play. Keep that left arm underneath the right armpit, right hand to your sacrum. Roll that right shoulder on top of the left. And as my neighbors came in, because thankfully I have a wonderful next door neighbor, and they both said, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything happening like that in my life. It's like a poltergeist." What would you do in the scene of something horrific? We often think it's so far removed. And while it may not be a war, it may not be as catastrophic, our stress hormones, our cortisol, reacts in the same way. So when we use these practices and we develop the steadiness, the sthiram, the sukham, the asana, we're able to build that patience, that go with the flow steadiness that is required during the emotional turbulence of the waves. Right hand underneath, right side shoulder, left arm up. And then circumduction here. Circle the arm around and down, and then press back to child's pose. And practicing that fluidity without rushing, like the example I gave you. You're going to wave through the spine, rock yourself forward, inhale, lift the hips, lift the buttocks, downward facing dog. Can you practice the fluidity here? Again, it must be practiced. Lower the knees, press back to child's pose. Again, making this as fluid, as graceful. Remember that relationships begin in the Swadhisthana. Graceful movement also begins here. Round through. Make this yours. Hips up and back, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And practice those two shapes one more time. Notice if you are having to overcorrect and you're resituating, where can you make these transitions a little bit more fluid and graceful each time? There's no rush. The shapes we make themselves don't have any assigned value. But the yoga, the practice that's happening, is how we are flowing through it. How am I getting from here to there? And the next time you come to downward facing dog, you're going to pause here and again, practicing that grace. I gave you that example today so you could work with that. Float that right leg up, all 5 toes pressed down. And then roll the right hip on top of the left today. Keep the shoulders steady. Right? So we're never sacrificing one part of the body for another. All 10 fingers pressed down. Right heel over to the left side. Just breathe into that space. And then step that right foot forward. Help it up. Lower the back knee down, �10𝗁𝒻𝒊𝒋𝒻𝒊𝒋𝒻𝒊𝒋𝒻. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Feel the steadiness in that. Twist it over to the right side. Left arm forward, right hand behind. Inhale, biceps long by the ears. Practicing that grace. Exhale, hands to blocks. Back knee lifts, right arm reaches up, twisted lunge. Right hand down to the block, step the left leg forward, lengthen the spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen forward Uttanasana. And then again, stretching the breath. It's all a practice here. Where can I stretch and lengthen? Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, pour forward over your thighs, Uttanasana. We inhale and lengthen the spine. And then let's exhale, stepping back to plank. Use the full exhalation. How do you need to get to this shape? And then with or without your knees, Chaturanga Dandasana, belly all the way down. Two-part cobra, inhale, lift the heart. We exhale and release. And do that again. And notice if you're trying to control the breath, can you let the breath lead you? Exhale, release. You might stay with low cobra. You might slide the hands back, lifting the thighs, lifting the knees, upward facing. Exhale back through to down dog. And that's going to look different for each person. You might press back over the toes. You might move through, table, paths lead home. And the focus is to practice the balance within you. Inhale that left leg straight up, all 5 toes pressed down. And then roll the left hip on top of the right. Bend the left heel over to the right side. Once again, practice the steadiness of the shoulders, the steadiness of the box, the foundation, so you're not getting washed away in the geyser of eruption. And then step that left foot through the hands. Help it up if you need. Lowering the back knee down. Take your time and set yourself up. Anjaneyasana. Squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders. Let your exhalation twist you over to the left side. Left hand behind you, right arm forward. And then biceps long by the ears. Elongate as you come back. Hands to blocks, let it be fluid. Back knee lifts, left arm reaches up. Twisted lunge. Left arm reaches down, step that right foot forward. Help it up. Inhale, lengthen Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, deepen Uttanasana. And again, practicing that fluidity. Sweeping the arms around and up. And letting the breath lead you. Exhaling straight back down like you're moving through water. Inhale, lengthen the spine flat back. And then practice how to gracefully, through your own practice, step back through plank. Right? We're not cookie cutter. And you might need to lower the knees and take a modified chaturanga if that helps you sustain bending the elbows and practice slowly moving down. Two-part cobra, inhale. Lift the heart. Notice if you're hardening. Exhale, release. It's just a practice. Inhale, lift the heart. And the minute you start to feel yourself hold the breath, you lower back down. It's a practice. Stay with the low cobras or slide into upward facing if that feels nourishing for you. And then gracefully make your way back to down dog again. It's just a practice. And we'll take this one more time with the cueing. If I cue it and it's too fast or too slow for you, just practice moving at your own tempo. Again, these deep practices, these deep kriyas, when we embody them, it's meant to infiltrate and integrate into our lives. So let's take a deep breath, inhale, and open up the mouth as you bring your intention that you had set back into your practice. And lifting that left leg up, inhale. Roll the right hip up. Roll the right hip on top of the left. Hopefully you knew that. Because, you're in my mind. Right heel over to the left side. Right foot steps forward, squaring the shoulders. Anjaneyasana, again, just cueing, no rush. Inhale, biceps long. Exhale, twist it right side. Inhale, biceps long. Exhale, hands to blocks. Left knee lifts, right arm sweeps up. Twisted lunge. Exhale, right hand down to the earth. Inhale, left leg steps forward, flat back. Exhale, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms around and up. Steady with the breath, Stiram. Sweetness as you fold forward, Sukham. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the gaze, flat back. Exhale, your choice of the transition. You can step, you can hop, you can jump back into chaturanga with bent elbows. What do you need for your balance today? How is your cosmic planter's box leveling inside you? No rush, nowhere to get. From downward facing dog, lift the left leg straight up. Roll the left hip on top of the right, bend the left heel over to the right side. Squaring the shoulders, steadying the planter's box. Left foot steps forward, Anjaneyasana, setting yourself up, practicing graceful movement. Inhale, biceps long by the ears. Exhale, twist it over to the left side. Inhale, the biceps long by the ears. Exhale, both hands frame that left leg. Right hand to the block, right knee lifts, left arm twisted lunge. Exhale, left hand to the block. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold it forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep the arms around and up. Exhale, transform that breath. Feel it moving to every cell of your body. Inhale, lengthen. Practice your graceful transition or skip it and step back to down dog. Just a practice. It doesn't define us. It's a practice to come into the wholeness of yourself, the balance of yourself, the breath of yourself. And we'll start to get a little deeper today. Again, always practicing for your body, your needs. Take that right leg straight up. Roll the right hip on top of the left. Again, practice steadying the shoulders. Bend that right heel over to the left side. And then step that right foot in between the hands. Help it up. Take your time here. Lower the back knee down. You might heel toe this right foot a little bit over to the right side as you draw the blocks back. So a few options, right? If you're feeling a very strong opening on that left thigh, that left hip flexor, deep psoas muscle, I encourage you to stay here and not be pulled out. Again, very deep stretch. We hold fear in the fronts of the thighs. So we're going to get a little deeper, a little deeper, a little deeper. Right heel outside of the right side hip, right side buttock. And if for any reason, folks, you need to make these blocks a little bit higher, so you can see my elbow is bending, right? You can double, you can triple, you can use whatever you need. So option one, we stay here, and then notice if the pelvis, I'm kind of exaggerating it a little bit, notice if the pelvis is dipping, right? So you want to feel that little lengthening pelvic floor is moving up, the tailbone is moving down. Second option would be to start to fold forward, but the back of the neck and the spine is straight. That right hip is moving back, the left hip is moving forward. A deeper variation of crescent. And I'll give you a few options today. Again, we're practicing where can I sustain graceful movement, that practice, so that when the geyser erupts, we're not freaking out. Third option would be to bring one hand either to the block. Again, I have long arms, so I'm going to not use the block. Take that right arm up, and as you take the twist, you call the left foot very deep. I would call this a more advanced technique. Advanced doesn't mean better. Advanced usually means that it's involving more joints, ligaments, tendons, tissues, bones. So that's something I do want to get into as I continue to write these trainings and integrate them into practice. Advanced, we usually think that it's harder and more challenging. In this practice, advanced is involving more elements. So always working within your framework. I have scoliosis. I have certain limitations with my knees, my elbows, certain joints. So I caution you to do the same. See if you can lengthen the spine and find the Saham Kriya here. You might even close the eyes and visualize light moving from the top of the crown down the spine to right in front of the sacrum. And as you exhale, feel that light charge and transform to every cell. If you're in the full bind, you're going to slowly release. Again, graceful movement here, so we're not flinging the leg back. Circumduction, bring that right arm up and over. And then today, if you're in the forearm version, you'll stay there. We're going to cut, and if you're in the higher version, we're going to cut that left knee. So you're going to lift it up just a little bit. Cut that left knee behind the right knee to have a seat. Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fish pose. And want to make sure here that the left foot, I'm opposite you, so stay exactly as you are, that the left heel, I'll continue to face profile, left heel is not underneath that right side buttock. Anchor the butt cheek down, feel the spine grow long, right big toe down on the earth, and then draw the thigh towards you. Another hip opener as we continue with the sacral balance. And then close the eyes here. Scan your body. Do you need a blanket underneath your pelvis and buttocks? Do you need any adjustments? Where can you make your breath and your body become a beautiful symphony? A piano is not a piano without both the black and the white notes. So where can you integrate your needs of your body so that the prana that is breathing you is more easeful as you get into this very deep posture? Folks, if this feels good, especially if you have tight hips like I do, this might be a really great place to stay. The shoulders are stacked, as you can see, stacked over my hips. Second option, as I continue to press my foot down, is to slide that right hand directly behind. Move this out of the way. Left arm's going to go long by the ear as best as you can, and then take the twist over to the right side. Left arm to the outside of the right thigh, and you're going to squeeze that left side tricep to the outside, hugging and drawing right inner thigh towards you. And then soften here. If the bind is part of your practice and it feels effortless, you can do that with or without a strap. You can thread the arms through. Again, we're looking for length and ease here. The more complex the shape, the more ligaments, tissues, tendons, bones tend to be involved. And something that happens with our ego human mind is that we feel that we need to be able, right? That's a false reality. That consider it as part of the washing, part of the purging. And then we'll take a counter pose if you've decided to twist to the right side, very slowly and very small. Again, spinal health, reverse, little counter pose this way. Now here's where we have set ourselves up. You're going to use your blocks, shift forward slightly, and if for any reason this feels uncomfortable for you, you can skip this. So I'm cutting and continuing to cut the left knee behind the right knee, almost as if I'm in a human pretzel. Heels are outside, and this is where your bolster can come in very handy. It's called bowl seat. So I may start here. Again, the toes are and heels are outside of the hips. You might sit on a block or a blanket. And once you find that seat, hopefully your strap is handy. Again, this is opening up the shoulders. In your bowl seat, you'll take the arms up. Continue to stay in profile. So you see that I'm not shifting forward. Draw the left elbow to a bend. Reach the right arm out, internal rotation, so the thumb points down. Send it way behind. And then reach for that strap. Maintain space here for an apple between your chin and your chest. So it's not about the hands clasping. One side of my body is always more user-friendly because of my limitations. So empower yourself to go where it feels sweet, sukha. Now, this is quite deep. It requires quite steady breath here. You have the option to stay here or to slightly hinge forward. The energy line is the tailbone moving back as the crown is moving forward. And then, folks, where can you soften? Notice if you're hardening. Notice if you're containing in a small cramped way. Where can you free the expansion of the breath, tanoti, and find the freedom within this shape, krayati. Take one more smooth inhalation here. And as if you're playing a violin string, exhale slowly and stack the shoulders. This is exactly why artistry is yoga. Come straight back up. No one wants to hear a jarring violin string. Release the arms, release the strap, and then bring the hands to the shoulders. You're going to just make a few circles here. Bull seat happens to be a very deep hip opener. Gets into the, go the opposite way, please. Gets into the greater trochanter, which is the muscle that connects the front ligaments to the back ligaments. And then if you happen to have your bolster, either coming off of your bolster or placing it off to the side as gracefully as you can. To get out of this, you'll lift your seat. I like to use the blocks for this. And then extend the legs. Take your time. We'll all meet in downward facing. And then from there, as you observe your body, decide if you need to wash the flow by taking a vinyasa. You can move through plank, up dog, down dog. You can take cobra, baby cobra. There is no right or wrong. You don't have to match what I'm doing, but feel empowered and inspired to choose what feels right for you. Wherever you are, beautiful thing about this practice is we always have a second side. So we'll take that left leg up. Now it's the left leg. Roll the left hip on top of the right and bend the left heel over to the right side. Again, practice steadying the shoulders and the palms are pressing down. That's your container. Take a smooth breath here, the inhale. And then step that left foot in between the hands. Help it up. Take your time. Anjaneyasana. Lower the back knee, kneeling lunge. And then before you decide, just let your pelvis, let your shoulders stack. I'll move this out of the way. Right? Feeling that containment, feeling your body where it needs to be. Little lift of the pelvic floor, the tailbone moves down. This might be enough if your right side is giving you feedback. Be sure to heel toe that left heel outside of your left hip. And if you're taking the second option, again, subtle lift of the pelvic floor, even though you're folding forward, this gets deeper into that front quad. Lizard pose or dragon pose. It's known by two names. And the forearms can be on the blocks. And we're going for the length of the breath here. So if this option is available to you on this side, again, feeling that subtle lift of the pelvic floor, you might lift that left arm up, little circumduction. Call the right foot towards the left hand. Ooh, that side, right side's quite tight. And some of you might be inspired to close the eyes. What does that feel like to practice a gentle breath in something that might feel challenging? We practice our ability without shutting down, without going to extremes, without panicking, without reacting. We develop a calm response to external stimuli. When we develop that, guess what? Your nervous system is automatically shifting. You are no longer the same person. And it it does happen, right? So this is exactly where, and coming back to Swadhisthana, which is the relationship vortex, this is why people can evolve out of our lives. Our human attachment to grip. Oh, this friend of 20 years or 30 years ago. When we're doing this work, we are evolving. And sometimes relationships serve a reason, a season, and a lifetime, but not every single one has the same exact purpose. Let's take a smooth breath to inhale and feel the top of the crown. The Saham Kriya here. Feel the top of the crown, receiving that light on the inhalation. Let it travel down the spine and let it transform, and on the exhalation, hum to every cell of your body. And then if you're in the deep bind, slowly release that leg. Nothing jarring. Walk yourself back. Again, respecting the joints. If you're in the forward fold with the forearms or in Anjaneyasana, feel that subtle lift one more time. And then from here, we're going to lift the back knee up, heel toe that left foot, cut your right knee behind the left. Take your time. Practice moving how you need to get into this shape. And then as you settle in, notice if this left side butt cheek is up. Notice if the right heel is underneath you. Can you sit on the sits bones and anchor the left big toe to the ground? So that's your earth line energy. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. And keep drawing that left inner thigh towards the heart. Sensation might be deep on that left side. I encourage you to close the eyes. I gave the example over the weekend of when we start to feel shadow aspects, when we're embarrassed or ashamed of our behavior, or we notice the aspects that are washing clean. That's the purpose of the Swadhisthana. If we can visualize a little baby, and you have your best suit, your best ball gown, your tailor-made threads, and you've held this adorable little baby, and they have defecated through their diaper, and it's all over your brand new whatever that you have had tailor-made for you. You might feel frustrated, but you'd have compassion for a little baby, I would hope, that is completely dependent, that knows no harm, only love, and it was not intentional. Now here's the crux. That little baby is you. Just as water nourishes us, these tools help us to nourish the inner child that needs that compassion, that love, without being yelled at or shamed for something that is human and natural as releasing. Left hand behind left butt cheek if that feels good for you. Right arm long if you're taking the twist. Place it to the outside and then grow the spine long. Again, this is completely optional. So is the bind. If that's calling to you, you can go there. And that inner child is always with us. That little baby soiling is us. Our reaction gives us the direction so we can take conscious, light, conscious, loving action. for healing and transmutation. And that's what these shapes represent. Can I find grace and compassion through something that might feel uncomfortable? Am I able to give myself the tools that I need? A blanket, a bolster, a strap if you're binding. Where can I practice the breath? And the reason why we practice the breath to full capacity is because you're training your nervous system to remain calm. Pull people into your calmness. Don't be pulled into storms or geysers, in my case. Let's take a smooth breath to inhale and a slow counter to exhale over to the opposite side. Take your time here. Remember, these complex shapes involve muscles, ligaments, tissues, joints, bones. Come back to center. Use the blocks as we start to now shift into bull seat. Rock yourself forward, and you'll splay the legs like a pretzel. And then reach the seat back. Again, make the adjustments that you need. One side might feel a little bit more user-friendly than the other. Block, blanket, bolster, whatever you need here. And then close the eyes for a few moments as you align from the inside. There's a lot that happens here. Little known fact, when our pelvis is out of alignment, it can affect our eyesight. Right? So very, very important to not just go through the motion or think that we are exercising, but to understand on a deeper level the physiological affecting the subtle energetic systems. And let's find our strap here once you feel comfortable in your seat. We'll take the arms up, draw the shoulders down, and then draw that right arm behind you, bending at the elbow. Left arm's going to reach out to the side, internal rotation. So the thumb points down, send it way back. And that slides the scapula towards the midline of the spine. Reach for the strap. And again, give yourself enough room so you're not fighting or that the chin is not dropping down to the chest. And then close the eyes here as you come back to that Brahmanadi line, that central line connecting you from crown to base. Option to hinge forward if you can maintain a neutral spine. That means that you're not collapsing in the back or that your rib cage is not sticking out. Breathing is completely underrated. I'll say that again. Breathing, pranayama, and our ability to practice deep, full, complete breaths often gets confused with a slow yoga class, which could not be more incorrect. The deeper the breath, the fuller and more complete the breath, I should say, where both the inhalation and the exhalation are matched, adds life to your years because you're bringing more oxygen to the cellular body. The longer the breath adds more life to your years and years to your life. Quality of life, calm life. Slowly come back up. Take your time as you release the strap. And we'll draw the hands to the shoulders one more time. Just these very, very minute circles. Might shake the head side to side. Again, be very gentle with the neck, the shoulders, and then move the opposite way. And then using your blocks to assist you, or if you don't need them, you can lift your seat up. Take your time as you extend the legs. Find your way to make this graceful. We'll all meet in downward facing. And then you get to discern the volume of your practice if you need to move through one more flow. Chaturanga, up dog, down dog, cobra, baby cobra. It should feel nourishing, like water to soil. And we all eventually meet in downward facing. Let's draw the knees down to the earth. And we'll bring the legs around. Take your time here. And find Dandasana, staff pose. And then peeling the toes back. Jaw at ease, head at ease, shoulders over the hips. You might take the arms up. If this is too much, you can always keep it down. And then feel this subtle balance inside of you right now. Connected above, not gripping, not hardening, and rooted, steady. Slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time here. And we'll twist it out by drawing the right knee in, all 10 fingers interlock on the shin bone. Circle the ankle a few times in one direction, a few times in the opposite direction. You might very much feel how that subtle shift has elongated your spine. We'll take a twist over to the left side. Option to place a block underneath that right side knee or a bolster. Right hand to the shoulder, soft cactus, or extend the arm. And keep drawing the outer hip away from the low rib. Can you find a full, complete breath here? Can you practice the steadiness, the stiram, the sukham, the asanam, and the ease here? Draw that right leg back to center, no rush. Extend that right leg. Take your time and draw the left leg in. Make it conscious, make it graceful. It's all part and parcel of the sacral chakra. Circle a few times in one direction. Circle in the opposite direction. You might hear some snaps, some crackles, some pops. It's excess vata, excess air. You can always get rid of that by taking some triphala powder. It's a tridoshic Ayurvedic herb. If you want to know more about that, just write to me. And cross it over to the right side. Block underneath the left knee if you'd like. Left hand to the left shoulder. And then again, move slowly here as you draw the left hip away from the low rib. Soft cactus with the arms, or 90 degrees. Or full extension into a T if that feels good. Mindful not to force. Graceful with the breath and the body. There's a saying as a performer, there are no small parts, only small actors. And it's the same thing I'd like to translate in yoga. There is no slow yoga. There's only the consciousness of the breath. Draw that left leg back to center. Take your time. And then extend that left leg. And take a moment before you adjust and before you take any other movements, and just let your palms face up as you allow the left leg and the right leg to meet, and just feel how your pelvic bowl has shifted and balanced. It takes time for the bones, the tendons, the muscles, the ligaments to settle in. If this feels wonderful and inviting, you can stay here. Hopefully a blanket is handy and you can cover yourself. Another option would be to place blocks underneath your thighs. And once again, covering yourself with a blanket to help induce the parasympathetic nervous system. And let the eyes now soften. Let the tongue drop to the bottom half of your mouth. And feel warm, nourishing oil washing and healing your brain, healing your thoughts, your thinking. Let it wash behind the eyes, eye sockets, the ears, ear canals. And feel that warm healing oil moving into the jaw, the tongue, down the back of the throat. Feel it soften the shoulders, the joints of the elbows and wrists, and all of the fingers. And feel that warm healing oil washing the back body. Washing the low back. Healing the pelvis and buttocks. Feel it move down to the thighs, back of the thighs, knees, kneecaps. Feel that warm healing oil moving across the shin bones and calves, across the ankle bones, over the tops of the feet and the soles of the feet. And just feel yourself now bathing in this warm healing oil. Rub your fingers with your thumb. You can Bring small movements to your toes. And stretch the arms up on your next inhalation. And find your way to gracefully move into right side fetal position on your exhalation. Make your way to a comfortable seat, letting your head arrive last. And press the palms to the heart. And feel this merging of duality, right side against left. And bowing down to the wisdom of balance, compassion, grace, and joy. And that balance is accessible at any time when we look inside of ourselves at our hearts. So bow down to the infinite love that you feel for that little baby and let yourself be nourished one day at a time. 𝗩𝗶𝘀𝗡𝗢𝗓. Namaste. Surya Mudra, right hand makes a fist, cover it with your left. Lean forward and feel a subtle lift of your pelvic floor, grounding you. And come straight back up.